In this video segment, we will be walking through how to tie in the solar storage tank with the water heater, or what's called the dual tank installation. This section will focus on the plumbing to and from the house, as well as between the two tanks. Let's get started. For electric water heaters, turn off the circuit breaker and verify the power is off using a voltmeter at the top of the water heater. For gas water heaters, shut off the gas supply valve. Shut the cold water inlet valve to the water heater. This is usually a ball or gate valve located near the top of the water heater. Also, shut off the water to the home at the main water shutoff. Connect a garden hose to the drain connection at the bottom of the water heater. Make sure the discharge end of the hose is in a safe place for hot water to flow. Open the drain bib and allow the water heater to drain. As the water heater is draining, open the pressure relief valve on the side or top of the heater. When the heater is empty, remove the hose and close the drain bib and the relief valve. Disconnect the water heater hoses. This is a good chance to replace old or worn hoses if needed. Check to make sure the water heater has dielectric nipples. Apply thread sealant and connect the temperature control valve to the water heater port labeled H for hot. The temperature control valve is installed with the port labeled H for hot at the bottom. Use a screen filter at this connection. The port labeled C for cold gets the other filter. The port labeled M for mix gets the O-ring gasket. Then, connect a flexible hose using the provided nipple to the temperature control valve port labeled M for mix. Connect the other end to the hot water pipe to the house. Note, thread sealant is not required for flexible hoses. Install a T above the temperature control valve. Attach a hose from the T to the cold water supply. When attaching it to the cold water supply line, connect it directly to the threads. If no threads are present, use the provided adapter. For 1-inch copper tubing, purchase a 1-inch compression adapter. A solar storage tank add-on kit can be used for the following steps. The kit is available through your supplier. Build the bypass valve assembly using 2 T's and 3 bypass valves. The assembly should look like this, with a T at the top and bottom of the assembly and a bypass valve in the middle. The other 2 bypass valves are connected to the same side of the top and bottom T's. The assembly should look like this, with a T at the top and bottom of the assembly and a bypass valve in the middle. The other 2 bypass valves are connected to the same side of the top and bottom T's. Attach a flex hose to the hot water port on the storage tank. Attach another hose to the cold water port on the storage tank. Attach another hose to the T above the temperature control valve. Finally, attach a hose to the cold water inlet on the water heater. Connect the flex hose from the T above the temperature control valve to the upper T on the bypass valve assembly. Connect the hose from the cold water port on the storage tank to the upper valve of the bypass assembly. Connect the flex hose from the hot water outlet on top of the storage tank to the lower valve of the bypass assembly. Finally, connect the hose from the cold inlet on the water heater to the lower T of the bypass assembly. Let's go over those again. On the storage tank, the hose from the hot water outlet goes to the lower valve of the assembly, and the hose from the cold water port goes to the upper valve of the assembly. On the water heater, the hose from the cold water inlet goes to the lower T of the assembly, and the hose from the top of the temperature control valve goes to the upper T of the assembly. Remove the drain bib and set it aside for reinstallation. Apply thread sealant to the 3-inch nipple and install it into one port of the 3/4 inch brass cross. Hand tighten it only. Install the nipple and cross assembly into the drain port at the bottom of the water heater, stopping with the cross oriented horizontally. Do not over-tighten and crack the brass cross. Next, apply fresh thread sealant to the water heater drain bib and install it into the cross on a side port most convenient for future water heater flushing. Do not install the drain bib on the front port of the cross. Apply thread sealant to the 3/4 inch side of the reducer. Insert the dip tube assembly filter first into the water heater and tighten the reducer. Apply thread sealant to the remaining reducer and install it in the brass cross. All interconnecting hot water piping and the last 5 feet of cold water supply pipe should be insulated with our 2.6 or greater insulation. Attach provided cold water shutoff label and the storage tank bypass label.